Hello and welcome to Teacher Talk, the podcast for teachers who are lifers but still want to have a life. This is Jared, and as always, I'm joined by my partner, Johanna. Hello, Johanna.
Hello, Jared.
What are we going to talk about today?
Summer.
Summer's break.
Yes. Well, more importantly,
What do you need to do?
What to do before you're like, summer, and you
that's not
run
summer.
away from the school. There are things to do before you go.
I was going to say, I don't really need a podcast to tell me how to not work. I'm already really good at that.
So the most important time of the year is the start of the year. But the second most important time of the year is the end of the year. Very, very, very important.
It's beginning, most important. The end, second most important?
Yes.
Why?
Okay, well, your head right now is full of information about exactly what works, what doesn't work, changes you need to make for next school year. It's all in there.
Oh, yeah.
You got it. And as soon as you declare summer, your brain will take all of that, truth, and it will start to distort it into non-truths, and you won't have it in August. And so all of it will be lost. Every bad experience you had, everything that didn't work, you will forget. You might remember that it was bad. You'll forget how bad it was, and then you'll definitely forget how you were going to fix it.
Yes.
Yeah, you will.
Yes. This happens to me too with projects.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. You should, the concept should tell you, you do your good documentation and organization of the results of your project. Put everything in the right file folders. Write down a summary, because you gotta think you remember everything that was decided and why and what needed to happen and what didn't. But it's just real easy to remember it for such time as it needs to make sure the project worked, and then when something goes the wrong later, not remember any of it.
Yeah. Well, and this is one of my secrets too. When people are like, how do you work just your contract time? It's because I work pretty much the week after school gets out.
Well, that's a bit of a cheat, isn't it? Your whole system is work your contract time plus take an extra negative week of not vacation.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So shut off the podcast now.
That's true.
It was all a lie.
It's not a lie.
You don't have to work too much unless you just work extra other times.
Well, it's about preventing reactive work. So it feels different, right? When you work an 8-hour day and then you work an additional 2 hours because you're not ready for the next unit, or because some kid was a goober, or because a bunch of kids didn't turn in their assignment, or that is work that makes you see red hot violence in your eyes. It is, I already worked 8 hours and here I am working more, and then I got to go the next day and I got to work again. That is what makes you hate teaching. Whereas this time, it's sad. You want to start summer, but it's cleansing. It makes you feel so good about coming back in August, and it will make you enjoy your summer better. Because if you do this work now, teachers who don't do this work now, August 1st hits and they start going back to their classroom.
Sure.
I don't. I go back when I'm supposed to go back, and I never feel like I need to go back sooner because, well, that's kind of a lie. When my order comes in, I do have to double check that things came in. But I order it now. So again, in the fall, I'm not trying to get all my supplies and resources and fight through the crowds to get stuff. I do all of that now.
At the very beginning of summer?
Very beginning of summer.
Which it happens to actually be right now.
At this moment, when we were recording the podcast, yes, I only have a couple of days left.
All right.
Okay, so shall we discuss what you do during this time?
Yes.
Okay.
You got me convinced. It sounds like a good idea.
So the first one most teachers do, and that's shut down your classroom.
Shut down classroom?
Yes.
What's that mean?
That means that you are going to clean and put away everything. There are like, I don't know, at least for me, there are hundreds of things that are not where they're supposed to be. Like this book needs to be put away with those resources. This is a random pencil I found. It needs to go with the like there's just all this stuff that's like not exactly where it's supposed to be, or this stuff should be alphabetized, or the cabinets are just chucked full of stuff. You take it all out, you clean it all, you put it back. It's like spring cleaning for your house, only it's in the summer. Yep. The beauty of this particular one is if you teach older students, you can totally ask a couple of those kids who just like fell in love with your room, and they'll come back and do this day with you. Like if you schedule just like a morning or just an afternoon, you can get people to help you.
Suckers.
They're not. They like look. I did this as a kid. I remember a teacher having me come in and we cleaned, and it was great. I got to spend time with her that I normally would never have in a classroom setting. And yeah, I just cleaned stuff. If you're in elementary, you can get kids to do this after school. Like I'll get kids to volunteer. I'll even get a couple of parents to volunteer. And so I end up doing this work during the last week of school.
I remember cleaning the band room when I was a junior, or it can't have been a senior. I must have been a junior. It's the most I've ever cleaned in my entire life.
Oh, they'll do everything for you. You have to make it a list.
But I don't remember being particularly happy about it. I don't know how he tricked me into doing it.
They will, though. They will do it. And they don't have to be happy. If you buy them like some donuts and some juice.
Yeah, but that shouldn't have worked on me. I don't know why I was in.
I give the kids popcorn after school, and it's like
he was kind and grateful about it, but I don't know how I got tricked into it anyway.
Yeah, you don't have to do this one alone, and it shouldn't take very long. It goes faster if you got help, but be willing to open every
Many
cabinet.
hands make light work. That's what he said. I remember that. That's the first time I ever heard that
phrase. Yeah, but it's just this one teachers know about, and I think almost all teachers do it. But let's just refresh for everyone. That's what you want to do. Don't save it for the fall. Do it now.
Yep. Got it.
Okay. Next. Now that your room is totally cleaned and everything is put away, and it feels like August 1st now. It'll feel light and airy and fresh. Now's the time to take out all your curriculum. Take all your desks, put them together. Group everything by unit or when it is taught, and go through what worked, what didn't work, and make a list. So you're not doing anything yet. You're just physically looking at it and you're making a list.
Are you sorting it into piles?
I kind of lay it all out so I can see it. So I'll take, like, if I teach multiple classes, I'll have one area that's one class, and I've got all it laid out, and I've got examples of the resources laid out. In another class, I'll take all the, or if I taught, multiple contents, you just want to have a collection of tables or floor space where you're laying it all out and you're seeing what are the kids experiencing from the very start of the course to the very end of the course, or the start of the year to the end of the year. And you're really thinking through, because you'll remember, oh gosh, these kids, they really struggled with this part, or gosh, a ton of kids already knew this. This was a waste of my time. Like, it was a waste of their time. It wasn't hard enough. Or I remember being super stressed trying to teach this because, take the time to make a list of everything that didn't work.
And how detailed are you in this list? Is it just kind of like a thumbs up, thumbs down thing, or do you write specific notes about exactly what went wrong? Or
I write very specific notes because I use this list to make a to-do list.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would say, like, if I spent the whole morning cleaning, making this list takes me the whole afternoon. Like, I get that specific. This is not a 30-minute activity.
Okay.
That same time, I'm also looking at before I get rid of it all, I'm looking at all of my behavior data.
Yeah.
When were kids struggling? When were my hot times for things to not go well?
Is that a separate process or is that integrated with your notes on the unit?
It's the same thing with notes. Well, it's a separate, so like if you were to look at my tables, it's like a separate table. I'll have out all my data and I'll be looking at when did we struggle? Was it a particular month? Was it a particular time during the day?
So you're looking at all of your lessons set out chronologically.
Yep.
So you can kind of go through them in your mind and kind of replay the year.
Yep, I'm replaying the year because
You make
it's
your
all
notes.
there. It's all there. As soon as you start seeing that's why the resources have to be out.
And
Not just like a lesson, but like the actual things you used with kids.
And then you've got like a week by week calendar or whatever, and in one column you have your notes on how the education went, and then in the next column you have your notes on how the behavior was.
Oh no, like a whole separate page. Like let's say I was an elementary teacher, science would be a page, and I'm going through all the units. Well, behavior is a page, and I'm going through all the triggers or the time. So like when I taught secondary, when were we having tardy issues? When were we struggling? Was it always during the last 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes? Was it during whole group, small group? Not thinking about when did a specific kid have trouble, but like assume that you're going to get another kid just like that. So when a kid who might have attention issues, when were they having the most problems? So I'm really trying to figure out where are my problem areas.
By time?
It tends to be by time. For behavior, it's by time. Yeah.
They're both by time?
Yes, they're all by time. You're
so
right.
So 2 columns.
Sure. However you sort it.
You got 2 data sets in rows by time. And you've got data attached to those times.
But I'm not thinking about like were kids naughty? When I'm looking at a lesson or a unit, I'm focused on the learning, what fell apart with the learning. Whereas when I look at behavior, I'm not thinking about the learning at all. I'm thinking about when did things fall apart with the behaviors.
Do you think that has anything to do with the lessons?
No, I
Okay.
separate it.
Okay. So one's by week and the other one's by lesson. And they're both correlated. I mean, lessons correlated with time, but it's a separate thing.
Sure.
Okay.
I think a teacher will understand what I'm saying.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you've gone through it all and you've like postmortemed. You've postmortem. You've postmortemed
Yeah.
your...
Part of why that's hard is because that's made up, but it's like Googled.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Postmortemed.
Yeah.
Your year. And you've made a list. Now it's time to decide how are you going to direct your energy. Because we're not spending the whole summer on this. At this point, we have, I'm a very efficient, fast worker, so I can kind of condense it into 2 days because I don't eat lunch and I just go. Most people like to putz a little bit more, so you're probably talking about 4 more days. But you're not going to get everything. I start with behaviors, and I think, is there anything I could do, change, or rearrange that would eliminate some of these problems? And if I don't know, I think about someone who doesn't have these problems. And so I might call them and ask them because they're on summer. So they have nothing but time. So I can reach out and find solutions. But step 1 is behavior. So if there's behaviors that I'm like, well, they happened, but it really didn't prevent that much learning. I think I'm okay with knowing that these behaviors are going to happen again during this time. Then I ignore it and I let it go. Okay. Then I go unit by unit, the same thing. I pick out kind of the top things that need my attention. I'm not going to be able to solve every problem, but I decide what problems I want to solve. Are there units I need to totally throw out and rewrite? Are there units I just need to tweak? Is there differentiation I need to create? What am I going to do?
Okay.
And then I turn that into a list.
Got it.
And that's what I get done.
What do you mean get done?
Like I make whatever we need. I am not
you
someone
make it for,
that goes...
so you're ready for it next year?
Yeah, I'm not a teacher pay teacher person. I do post things there. But I think it's easiest to just reinvent a solution. I can make a solution faster than I can find a solution.
In any event, you're not just identifying what you want to work on next year. You're identifying it and then you're getting the work ready to implement next year.
Yeah, so I might take an entire afternoon to figure out what I want to focus on. And then I might take that whole evening to think about it. And then I'm going back fresh the next day. This is what I'm working at.
So that's like day 3.
Day 2, I do cleanup in the morning, and then you can do your list in the afternoon, and then day 2 now, I'm going in and I'm jumping into my list.
I'd probably do it day 3.
Okay. I tend to be a doer.
A little longer.
Okay, and then I just get it done. I make whatever resources I want to make, and I think through problems, and if I need, I call people. I tend to, because a lot of times administrators are still working during this time, and they're kind of out of energy. So this is the perfect time. I set up meetings on this day with like instructional coaches or administrators. A lot of times technology people happen to still be on contract, so I'll set up any meetings I think I need and have them that day to get feedback on what I'm working on and what I'm creating. And I generally spend 2 days creating. And if I can't get it done in 2 days, then it's just something that's going to have to wait.
Okay.
Okay. So after I've done that creating process, I then, in my district, we have print job. So I can send out to someone else to do all my printing needs.
The way you say that implies that maybe you couldn't.
Most big districts let you do it this way. Before, when I have had experience where you didn't have this, then I would spend this day printing everything. But I get every resource I need for the whole school year printed during the summer.
Okay.
It's all done. So when I come back in the fall, all I have to do is sort things into boxes and label it. Unit 1, Unit 2, whatever it is, I label it. I, as much as possible, try to make my resources universal. So, like, I might change something that's up on the screen. For Google Classroom, I set up my whole Google Classroom during this day. Like, all my resources, everything, it's already done.
I'm seeing a pattern.
You're seeing a pattern.
I've got an idea now.
You've got an idea? What's your idea?
I have an idea of what you're saying. It's your idea. I just am identifying how the idea works.
Yeah, like if I didn't change a resource, if I ended up not getting to something on my list, well, that's fine. I'm going to live with it.
Yeah, because you didn't die
I
last
didn't
year.
die. And I know it's coming. I know it's not perfect. But I've invested at this point 16 hours. This is what my school year is going to be. And I can always redo this next year.
Yep.
It can be, if I had brand new curriculum, which happens every once in a while or all the time to teachers, I will add time. But there again, I'm not going to make it perfect the first go. I'm going to put energy where I need to put energy, and I'm going to put Band-Aids on what I put Band-Aids on, and I'll get it to it the next year.
So 2 days, maybe a little bit more if you have brand new curriculum.
Yeah, and if I work with a PLC, this is where, it's wonderful if they come in and work with you. But if they don't want to, I just share everything that I'm doing. And it doesn't mean I can't add to it. It doesn't mean my PLC can't decide to create something. And I ended up taking a resource I've already made and produced and deciding not to use it. And we use a new resource maybe that was developed during the school year. That's fine. But everything I think I need is is going to get done.
Yeah, you have it.
Yeah. I'm not
If you
stressed
wind up
about
getting
it.
something better than that, then that's fine too.
The amount of time teachers spend just trying to make sure they're prepared for the day, if you take that burden off your shoulders, your teaching world, it's like brand new.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. It's recap time.
It is recap time. That's it.
So, broadly speaking, you aren't going to wait until the start of next year to decide what you want to do that year.
Right. That's the worst time to do it. I mean, it's okay, but
The way, I mean, now you say it, it makes sense because
your rose-colored summer glasses are like so reflective. You have forgotten everything.
you've got the best memory of exactly what went right or wrong
They've done
right
studies
now.
on this actually. People forget the bad things. So like job reviews and performance reviews, they'll ask them like, how do you think your year went? And people will give themselves super positive reviews because they've forgotten or diminished the bad things.
Yeah, that's why I still have a career, is because people forget the bad things.
Oh dear. Okay.
So it all makes sense though. Is it's you got to do this work anyway. It's very obvious that this is the best time to do it.
Yes.
Not 2.5 months later.
You'll spend all summer worrying about it.
Yeah.
Get it done now.
So you're gonna shut down your classroom. You're gonna trick some students into helping you clean it.
Yep.
Get it super duper clean. It's ready. It's done.
Every cabinet, everything. It is done.
Needs to be done anyway, and it'll make everything else easier.
Yep.
Then you're going to make a mess again because you're going to get all your curriculum out and put it in order of how the lessons went so that you can kind of look at it and use that to run back the year in your head.
Yep.
And then you're going to write down what worked and what didn't with very specific notes about exactly what you liked and didn't like about how the lessons went.
Yep. And keep those. Even if you end up not doing actions, you might
use them next year.
I use them when my PLC wants to do PLC work. I know exactly what we need to work on because of that document.
And then you're going to run through the year again with the lessons as your mental guide, and then think about how behavior went over time.
Yeah.
And you write notes about that.
Yep.
And then, so this takes you a day. That sounds like a trick to me. I'm going to call it 2 days.
No, I don't know. I am a fast worker. I will say I'm a very fast
I'm
worker.
going to call it a day and a half. Then maybe take a half day off.
No, don't. Once you pull yourself into summer mode, you won't want to go back. You won't go back. Don't.
You're a crazy person, though.
No, I'm telling you, it's...
Okay, whatever. I don't care how long things take.
Okay.
But you said to reflect on your good and bad notes.
Yes.
And then the next day, whenever that might be, you're going to write down the solutions that you want.
Yes.
You're going to figure out what new resources you need. The first thing, though, is the behavior plan. What worked and what didn't in the behavior plan. Maybe you get advice from people, but you're going to decide, this is what I want to modify about my behavior plan.
Yes. And I use the advice from people on lessons, too.
Then you're going to go unit by unit through your class. What do you call those? Lesson plans?
Yeah.
Just decide what to throw out, what to change, what new things are needed. What's that? Take a day? Half a day?
Sure. It depends on the teacher. Again, I tend to work fast, so.
And then the next day or day and a half or so, you're actually going to make the solutions so that you're done. You have it.
Yes.
You know exactly, this is everything. I don't just write down the things I think I'm going to want to do next year. I'm actually going to do them now.
Yes.
And then they're ready for last year. I even send them to the print shop or get them printed, however I do that. And so I come into the start of the year, which we already know is super important. You can focus on all those important things because you don't have to decide what to do basically anything.
Right. My start of the year then is solely focused on whoever the students are going to be.
Yeah, you're executing, not planning.
Right. Yes. And I would encourage teachers, particularly depending on what they teach, if you teach something where there's just not a lot of resources out there, you're used to creating things yourself. A lot of teachers, if they teach something that, maybe millions of people also teach, their instinct is to go find something that someone else uses. You're going to get the biggest bang for your buck if you decide to focus on exactly what you want and just create that. Don't get hung up on how pretty it looks. Figure out what exactly would work for your kids, and it's just faster to create what you need than to try and find what you need, and then it won't perfectly work and it'll make new problems for you. And that's just my 2 cents on that.
Maybe we talk about creating stuff in the future.
We should. That's a good idea.
Well, for now, thank you, Johanna.
Thank you, Jared.
Johanna, do you get questions from listeners ever?
Yes, we do.
How do those listeners send you questions?
They send us an email.
Where does that email go?
teachertalk4teachers@gmail.com.
But wait, what kind of 4? How do I do 4?
All of the 4s. They can do a number 4. They can write the word FOR, or they can do FOUR, even though that one doesn't quite make sense.
Well, perfect. teachertalk4teachers@gmail.com.
Yes.
Thank you, Johanna.
Thank you, Jared.
Teacher Talk, the podcast for teachers who are lifers but still want to have a life.